Now here is a selection of segments.
He's a fire breather, a tail beater, a man eater, a hunka burning monster. Huh? You know I'm talking about dragons, because they pop up in myths and legends across time. Why do we enjoy monsters like these? We've all seen dragons in pictures and in books and movies. And of course they're totally made up, right? Let's see.
Dragon Tales.
Take the body of a snake, the scales of a lizard, a bat's wings, an eagle's claws, the head of a crocodile, some dangerously bad breath, and what have you got? A dragon. Now the reason this creature looks so unreal is because it isn't real. But stories of this totally made-up monster have been producing thrills and chills down through the ages. In ancient Egypt, dragons showed up in burial tombs to guard the dead on their way to the next life. The Aztecs of Mexico believed a dragon-like figure created human life, so they put dragons on their temples. And in China, the dragon has been a symbol of power and good luck for thousands of years. But why did the same mythical creature show up in the stories and tales of all these different places? One explanation is the fear factor. Who isn't afraid of snakes, crocodiles, and fire? Put them all together and you get dragons. Then there's the dinosaur theory. When ancient people first dug up those big dino bones, they couldn't imagine what kind of creature this was. So they made up tales about dragons. You can see the resemblance, can't you? And speaking of resemblance, dragons might just be larger versions of real-life reptiles. The giant Komodo lizard, also known as the Komodo dragon, is probably the closest thing there is. And while this bad boy may not breathe fire, that drool will kill you. Yuck. We'll probably never know the full story behind dragons, but one thing's for sure, they're likely to remain a very hot topic.
It's alive! It's alive! I've created a Frankenstein monster. Okay, maybe I'm missing a few body parts, but you get the idea because just about everybody knows the Frankenstein story. But do we really understand the cost and the benefits of science? People have been paying very good money to get scared out of their wits by watching the story of one scientist's creepy experiment in the movies. But you can see it right here, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg.
Frankenstein lives.
He's ugly, he's angry, and he's unstoppable. The Frankenstein monster has made it into movies, TV shows, comic books, and, really large heads? But who dreamt up the world's most famous freak? Turns out the original Frankenstein story actually was based on a dream. On a dark and stormy night, way back in 1816, a teenage girl named Mary Shelley had a vivid nightmare about a mad scientist who digs up the dead, stitches together body parts, and works night and day to breathe life into his creepy creation, until finally, he comes alive. That was one weird dream, but it wasn't something she ate.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Mary lived in a time when some of the first machines were invented, and people were afraid their new creations might get out of control and turn on them. Mary knew she was onto something, so she wrote her dream down and turned it into a book. She called her story Frankenstein, after the name she gave to the monster's maker. The book was a blockbuster, and young Mary became a superstar. Okay, fast forward 100 years. Hollywood discovers Mary's monster and makes him a movie star, creating the famous face we all know and love. Those bolts are a nice touch, don't you think? Over 50 other Frankenstein movies followed the first. Old Bolthead even got a movie wife and some movie buddies to hang with. So it looks like this is one mean monster that is never going away.
There's a curse on our village. The curse of Frankenstein.
He just keeps coming back. Like a bad dream.
Hello sports fans, Megan here covering all the bases on writing jobs in the next 4 videos. Each one is a home run and there are no strikeouts in this game. Why am I talking like this? Because first up, we've got the story of a sports reporter who bats words around without ever throwing a curve. Can a sports reporter also be a fan? Watch as Dave Curtis takes you out to the ball game and gives you the sports report.
Sports report.
Get your Brooklyn Cyclones yearbook and scorecard here!
Making a great play isn't the only way to have fun at a baseball game. Dave Curtis doesn't wear a uniform or a glove, but he's a big part of what happens off the field. Dave is a reporter for the New York Post newspaper, and it's his job to let the readers know all about the Brooklyn Cyclones, a minor league baseball team named after the famous roller coaster at Coney Island Amusement Park in Brooklyn, New York. Dave gets to the stadium early and talks to the players about the upcoming game. Being a sports reporter is something he's wanted to do ever since he was a kid.
When I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I used to do play-by-play like I was a TV or radio announcer. You know, people used to look at me kind of funny, like, what's that kid doing? But now I get to be in the press box for real. This is home.
The press box is definitely a great place for a baseball game. But Dave's not there to eat peanuts and cheer for the Cyclones. He's got to keep a careful eye on the game, keeping track of who gets the big hit and who makes the great play. When the game's over, he heads to the clubhouse to interview the players. Whether the Cyclones win or lose, Dave's job is to help his readers understand what went right, what went wrong, and why.
Then he came out.
The answers he gets are the last thing he needs to put together his story. Dave's got to meet a deadline for tomorrow's paper, so he only has a short time to organize his notes, collect his thoughts, and write his article. When he's finished, he sends the story over the internet to the New York Post and calls in to make sure his boss is happy. And in the morning, Brooklyn Cyclones fans everywhere can read all about it.
Hello? Hello? Oh, this new phone can do so many different things, but I can't even figure it out. I don't want to take a picture. I don't want to write a message. I just want to make a phone call. It's times like these when you need a geek to come to the rescue. Hello? Omar. Oh, I was just talking about you. I need your help with my cell phone. What's that? Watch the video about your job as a technology reporter and call you back? Okay, but I still don't know how to make a call. And why are we so fascinated by the latest and greatest technology anyway?
Toy Story.
With so many high-tech games and cool gadgets out there, how do you know which ones to choose? That's a question for Omar Wasso, a technology expert who appears on TV and radio to report on the newest and coolest high-tech toys. Omar knows just about everything about computers, electronics, the internet. In other words, he's a geek.
I think being a geek means that you're somebody who really enjoys understanding how technology works.
Of course, even a geek has to do research for this job.
People send me things like the Xbox and PlayStation for free so that I can check them out.
Which sounds a lot more like play than work.
Yes.
Omar figures out what he wants to say about these new products, and he writes it down.
Basically, for every segment I do, I've got to write a script out.
And then it's time to go on the air. It might be a radio segment.
It's time for Tech Tips with our very own tech guru, Omar Wasso.
Or a TV spot.
At the end is the XM Commander. That one is...
But either way, Omar's got a pretty great job.
The best thing about my job is that I get to read about technology and write about it.
And he gets paid to play with toys.
Go. Oh.
How cool is that?
Very cool. How did he get so lucky? Well, when Omar was a kid, he got hooked on video games. He figured out how they worked and graduated from playing them to creating them.
That's it. Game over for me.
Then he started figuring out the secrets behind all kinds of technology.
And this is cute. Watch this. You go into Vindigo, and it's not just about knowing how to turn on the television, but what's going on behind the screen.
Omar puts in long hours, going over story ideas with his TV producer.
Well, what I would love to do is a segment on gadgets for kids, high-tech.
And writing scripts, and running to do interviews. So he relies on cat naps to keep him going. But at the end of the day, even the wired get tired. So Omar logs off, unplugs, and leaves technology back at the office.
Bye.
Yeah, right. You can't blame him for loving his job.
Proud to be a geek.
Finally, I've made it to the last word in the dictionary. Ziziva. Z-Y-Z-Z-Y-V-A. Z-Y-Z-Z-Y... All right, let's face it. I haven't heard of a lot of these words, and I'll never be able to spell them. But spelling weird words without one of these is what it takes to become a national spelling champion, as you'll see in our next video. What do you have to give up to be the best of the best? What else does it take to be a champion? In the meantime, I better go back to the beginning. Aardvark. A-A-R-D-V-A-R-K. Aardvark.
Under a Spell.
Almost 10 million American kids are obsessed
C-E-A-L
with spelling,
Apocopy.
big words,
A-P.
hard words,
Lightning through.
crazy words.
Hypsometer.
And they all compete in spelling bees across the country for a chance to be letter perfect. In the tiny town of Perryton, Texas, super speller Angela Arenovar is counting the days until she can spell with the best of the beat.
Hey, I've been waiting for it forever.
Angela's trying to win a regional spelling bee, going up against 30 of the best spellers in her part of the country.
Crocodilian.
C-R-O-C-O-D-I-L-I-A-N.
We have a chance.
Now she'll advance to the Super Bowl of Spelling, the national finals in Washington, D.C. For Angela, it's a dream come true.
I was crying after the spelling bee. I've never cried, like, for being happy.
Crocodilian tears, of course. Angela's way with words is pretty remarkable. Her Mexican-born parents speak only Spanish, so Angela taught herself to spell by studying hard and using a few tricks.
I kind of made this little crossword puzzle.
Those tricks will come in handy when she goes up against the top spellers in the country in the National Spelling Bee. 249 kids, all younger than 16, are gathered in Washington, D.C. for 2 days of fierce competition. Just how big is this bee? It started with only 9 spellers in 1925. This guy was the winner. And today it's shown live on the ESPN channel, just like a sporting event. So the pressure is on.
I'm a little nervous right now, but I think that's natural. I think every speller is.
Acropodian, heuristic.
So nervous that a few kids cave in during round 1.
Chateaubriand.
But Angela makes it through 2 rounds.
Queedle.
Queedle. W-H-E-E-D-L-E.
Everyone catches their breath before round 3. The best spellers are still in the game, and the words get more difficult. Angela's up at the plate again, but this time they throw her a curve.
Helioplankton.
Helioplankton. Helioplankton.
She strikes out on a tough word.
I thought it was right. I did.
Angela finishes tied for 105th place. But a little helioplankton isn't going to dampen this speller's spirits.
I already feel like a champion, just getting there. I mean, I think that's enough.
Now that's how you spell winner.
When I was a kid, I used to make up code words so my little brother wouldn't know what I was talking about. That was fun. But secret codes can also mean the difference between life and death when you're fighting a war. If you don't want the enemy to know your plans, you've got to communicate in a code no one can crack. In this next video, you'll see how a group of Navajo men totally stumped the enemy with an uncrackable code they created during World War II. What's most important when trying to win a war? Being smart or being powerful? I'll let you watch this story, but don't tell your little brother.
War of Words.
The Indians of the Navajo Nation have a unique language. For generations, it was never written down, had no real alphabet, and was spoken only on the Navajo lands of the southwestern United States. In fact, it's so special that at one time it was America's top secret weapon. In 1941, the United States was fighting Japan in World War II, halfway around the world. To win the war, the military needed a way to communicate without letting the enemy know what they were up to. So the government asked a group of 29 Navajo men to develop a secret code based on their language. The Navajo didn't have any words for military stuff, so they made up new words for those things. Submarine became Beshlo, or iron fish in Navajo. Fighter plane was Dahi-Tihi, or hummingbird. Battleship was Lotso, the Navajo word for whale. They made up a dictionary of hundreds of words, memorized them, and used the words to make up a complicated code.
We tried it out in front of them. They said, gee, this is good, fast, and it looks like foolproof.
So hundreds of Navajo soldiers went to work with the Marines, using the code to send messages and military orders back and forth by telephone and radio. The Japanese were really good code breakers, but they were completely stumped by the awesome code the Navajo had come up with. For 3 years, the code talkers helped America win one battle after another. In one of the biggest, for an island called Iwo Jima, 6 code talkers worked 2 days straight without sleeping, sending and receiving more than 800 messages without a single mistake. The Japanese never cracked the code.
They were confused. On Iwo Jima, they were just confused.
After Japan surrendered and the war ended, the Navajo soldiers were sworn to secrecy, in case their code was ever needed again. No one knew they were heroes until 24 years later, when the government finally let them tell their story. On August 14, 1982, President Ronald Reagan declared a National Navajo Code Talkers Day. In 2001, President George Bush awarded the original 29 Code Talkers the Congressional Gold Medal, one of the highest civilian honors. And the Code Talkers' special place in history was no longer top secret.